Hi, it's Emma here with AQUA Real Estate. Today is the first video discussing NWMLS Form 35. Inspection Addendum. Starting off, we will give a brief intro to home inspections. Then cover the buyer's obligations. And then we will finish up discussing the buyer's deadline. Most people know what a home inspection is. But very few people understand the details of how the process actually works. A home inspection is the buyer's last opportunity to discover problems with the house before purchasing. And it's a chance for the seller to address those problems and negotiate fixes or pricing with the buyer. But what exactly can a buyer inspect, and who is allowed to complete the inspection? The first clause of the inspection addendum answers that very question. Buyers are given permission to go to the property to inspect anything and everything they wish. This includes the house itself, the pool, the barn, the soil, rodents and pests, radioactive materials. Just kidding on that one. But not really, you actually could. The general home inspection must be performed by either the buyer themselves or a licensed home inspector. Nobody else is allowed to conduct an inspection. Buyers are also permitted to bring along specialists such as a general contractor to get bids for fixes and remodeling. The buyer may also wish to have a sewer scope to check the health of the sewer line. This can be a wise investment, especially if it's an older home. Sewer line issues can be some of the most expensive repairs. Our next topic is buyer's obligations. The buyer's obligations for the inspection are spelled out in the second clause of Form 35. The buyer's first obligation is that they must be the one who orders the inspection. It's best practice that the buyer's agent not be the one calling inspectors trying to find dates and times that work. Instead, have the buyer provide you options and then you coordinate the times with the listing agent. Secondly, whom the buyer chooses to inspect the property must always be the buyer's choice. This doesn't mean you can't give advice if the buyer asks you to refer them a good inspector. All good realtors have a list of go-to inspectors. However, if you do refer your buyer an inspector, be sure to provide your buyer no less than 3 choices. You may have a list of inspectors of your own, but we also have an excellent list of inspectors at the link above that you can use. www.getaqua.com/inspectors. Or you can find it in our agent app. The third obligation for the buyer is that the inspection must be paid for by the buyer. A buyer agent must never offer to pay for the inspection as a part of their services to the buyer. The agent could have liability if the buyer later discovers problems that the inspector may have missed after purchasing the home. This is why it's important to stay an arm's length away in the selection of the inspector. The last obligation the buyer has is their accountability for the inspector. The house must be restored to its original condition, and any damages caused during the inspection are the buyer's responsibility. A home inspection is a visual inspection only. The inspector will not use tools of any kind to open, drill, or take apart anything. The last topic we will discuss is the deadline for the buyer's reply. Clause 3 goes into detail explaining the ground rules of the buyer's notice. The first part of the clause covers the amount of time the buyer has to complete the initial inspection. The default time is 10 days, but this time frame is often negotiated as most sellers would like the inspection completed sooner. If you are in a situation that requires a quick inspection, such as 3 days or less, it's smart to have your buyer make contact with some inspectors to ensure an inspector is available to come on short notice. Do this before submitting your offer to the listing agent. Inspectors typically get you the report no later than the following morning. So leave yourself enough time to review the report and talk with your buyers to see how they would like to respond. The typical amount of time we find most buyers' agents write on Form 35 for the inspection period is 5 days. 5 days would be counted as business days. Keep in mind the computation of time is a bit tricky as it may or may not include holidays and weekends. This depends on the amount of days you put on the form. Please check out our computation of time training video to become an expert on this topic. The deadline date is a very important date to know. If you turn in your buyer's inspection response after the deadline, the seller does not have to honor your buyer's requests to do any of the repairs or credits. The contingency is considered waived and the buyer must move forward with the purchase. Our next lesson in this series, Part 2 of the Inspection Addendum, will cover the Inspection Response Form. Form 35R. This is the form where you put the buyer's requests for any repairs or credits they wish to negotiate.
Be sure to check out our other great training videos inside AQUA University. Hey there, are you watching our training videos but not yet an AQUA agent? We would love to have you. Our 100% commission model, world-class training systems, technology and marketing make AQUA the coolest and fastest growing brokerage in the Northwest. Go to our website, getaqua.com/careers to learn more. Join the club.